Hello YouTube, it is Chris here, and in today's episode I'm going to state my case as to why this is the world's best fire starter. Welcome back everybody, and thank you for sticking with me. As you guys can see, and if you're no stranger to our channel, there are a ton of survival cordages on the market. And right here we have the top 4. And I know a lot of you guys are like, huh? Chris, there's only 3 I know about. I know about 550 Firecord, I know about Titan Survival Cord, and I know about Ste Paratinder. What's the 4th one? This is the 4th one. Now, this is the contender, because these are all staples that perform pretty darn well in most conditions for most people. A lot of y'all have them. You've seen them at Walmart, on Amazon, in places like Bass Pro Shop and Cabela's. But this one, in my opinion, completely shakes up the market, and let me explain why. About 4 years ago, 550 Firecord, which is from the company Live Fire, came to market. It was a revolutionary new product that no one had ever seen before. It was taking Paracord, which is super versatile in all its awesome functions in the outdoors, and then they put a Firecord in it. But its major flaw, still to this day, is for 100 feet. They charge you $45. Now, about 2 years ago, these guys shook up the market as direct competitors to this. I own a 100-foot hank of it, but this is Ste Paratinder. They started selling this at Walmart, and what made this so revolutionary is it took basically the same technology and performed just a little bit better for $5 for a 30-foot hank. And that really shook up the market because you could get a 100-foot hank for $18 instead of spending $45 on a 100-foot hank. A lot of you guys like to default to this stuff. This is actually a good cordage. This is Titan Survival Cord. And also, I made this one come out to play today too, because it is sporting a waterproof Paratinder, which is waxed jute. So I had all 4 of them go head to head. Now, since these have been on the market, we did a water test, because if I am going to actually gut my cordage and utilize this type of stuff in an emergency, I'm going to be utilizing it when I need it the most, where I actually am caught with my pants down. I've got to start untying my shoelaces, take apart my survival bracelet that I have this stuff on, and start utilizing it in life-saving functions. That's what all of this stuff is for like a dire emergency. You're going to be untying your shoelaces, you have the stuff wrapped in, and all that good stuff, and get things done. Now, there's a ton of awesome ways to take this cordage and make it useful for yourself in a pinch. You can do things like create little hand-woven koozies with the paracord. You can attach it to your little canteen setup. There's just fun little ways to make it useful for yourself. But for me, since the core is what I'm actually most interested in, I have a tendency to pre-gut it. Now, this is why a year or 2 ago, Ste Paratinder got my vote, because it was so cheap. Now, it's because when you cut it up and break it up, you can stick like 20 pieces in just a little fun little EDC capsule. So you could use this with a lighter or an EDC fire steel and have an awesome fire kit ready to go. Or if you're into like Altoids tins, they have these little micro ones that you can put them into. For me, because I like the Lightning Strike fire steel, we've got this setup right here in the capsule. You can stick 121 of them in here, which is absolutely crazy. So the convenience factor alone of this particular cordage is pretty endless. I actually started rocking these in my Paratinder Go tubes, but like I said, why is this now my new favorite? Well, I'm gonna tell you. First, the price. It is super, super, super cheap. You can get a 100-foot hank of this stuff for $9.99. $10. The price of normal paracord these days. You can get 550 Blaze Cord, which is what this is called, by 4 Directions Bushcraft. It is $9.99 for a 100-foot hank. So where this is the cheapest to date so far is like $17.99 to like $15.99 depending on where you go. But for $6 less, at the absolute cheapest you can find this stuff, I get 100 feet of this. But why is it a good enough competitor to compete against this Titan Survivor Cord? Because this doesn't just have a fire cord to it, it also has monofilament fishing line attached to it. The only thing it's missing to this is the copper wire. But if you want to go out and spend an extra $16 to get 100 feet of this just to get copper wire in your cordage, by all means, go for it. Or you can go to Walmart for like $1.99 or $2.99 and just get a whole bunch of galvanized steel wire and you're good to go. Now, the thing you all want to see is, okay, Chris, we get it. It's convenient. These are emergency cordages. They're great. But how do they perform head to head to head to head? Yes, that's what we're doing right now. So, first up was the 550 Firecord. It was the benchmark. It is the grandfather. It's what got this whole thing craze started for fire cordages. So we went ahead and tested it and put it up to a very simple test. It's basically 20 seconds in the water, submerged, and then we try to fluff it up and strike it with a fire steel. But as we were going through and we dunked it, it wasn't lighting. It was not lighting with a fire steel. It got completely soaked and submerged. It didn't work. And I was getting really frustrated with it. And it wasn't until I put direct flame on it for about 10 seconds with a lighter that it finally lit, and then just the littlest bit, because it was so just permeated with water, it didn't perform very well at all. It just didn't perform under extreme emergency situations, which is what all of these had to face. Since the UST Paratinder was the next challenger up, we decided to go ahead and take that and put it under the same 20 to 30 second complete water submersion test. And as it performed about 1.5 years ago and how I've had it work ever since, it performed very, very well. I fluffed it up. It did its thing. It kept a lot of the water out. It doesn't fluff, but it still performed very, very well. It still lit with a fire steel just fine, and it did its job, which is what I expected. Now, like a lot of people like to do, as soon as I start bringing up these cordages, they like to fight fire with water and tell me to go check this out. So that's why this came out to play. So we decided to take that, put it through the same test. We took the waterproof waxed jute and got business done. Well, because the jute is so aggravatingly, annoyingly thin, you're going to need a much longer strip to get the job done. But for the sake of testing, we took like basically 12 inches of the cordage and we're fluffing it up, trying to manipulate it and mess it up. We finally got it fluffed. It was pretty aggravating. And we got it to light and it went out. We got it to light again, and it went out again. It was kind of annoying because it wasn't consistent. It wasn't a very strong flame that I felt that I could rely on if I found myself in an emergency and I really need to start using this stuff. And like I said before, this is great cordage. The fact that a company thought to put waxed jute, fishing line, and copper wire in a thing, and if you still feel like paying 26 bucks for 100 feet, go for it. I'm not here to stop you. I'm not trying to tell you that you should or you shouldn't or what you should do. At the end of the day, in decent conditions, all these perform pretty well. But the thing that freaks me out the most is these are the two cheapest. And as far as the extreme water test, which is like the worst conditions you would ever want to find yourself in, those two seem to perform the best. Now, because this was a contender, this is the challenger that has to prove itself above everyone else, I had to put it through a much harsher battery of testing. So what we went ahead and did is actually submerge that for over 5 minutes straight. It went in there for basically 10 to 15 times longer than all these other cordages because it has something to prove. And it's the cheapest. So as we were going through testing, this is what shocked me. As we dunked it out of the water, it did something absolutely incredible, which none of these other cordages do, which is very, very important, in my personal opinion, for a fire tender to do. It fluffs. Yes, it fluffs in a fun little cat ball. And what that does is even if it's soaking wet, it separates into these little microfibers that the molten sparks from any fire steel that rains down on that tinder will help it ignite and kind of just explode and catch on fire like it's supposed to. And that is what is so awesome to me about this, is not only is it water resistant, it will be able to deal with the elements for an extreme amount of time, but then when you need to go fluff it and make sure it works, it actually fluffs and becomes real, viable, true blue tinder, and it doesn't take a long time at all to get it to this state. It's also super convenient to cut up in these spots so you can put it into little tins, little capsules, fire tinder go tubes, inside little storage containers. Anywhere you need to store it and put it, it's going to be super convenient. It's not sticky, it's not gummy, it's very clean. For reference, this is a full 50-foot hank of the core, all when it's all said and done. This is what it looks like. Right here. I took a 25-foot hank, decided to ball it all up in this tight little ball, and said, hey, if you had to use this in an emergency, I mean, you're catch yourself in a weird situation, this is all you have. You don't have anything else. The tinder's soaked. You can't get a fire started. can you boil water with just that tinder? With 25 feet, can it be done? About at the 11-minute mark, went ahead and checked it because I saw little micro vibrations in the stove. And when it all said and done, boom! Literally 25 feet of this cordage. So $2.50 worth of this Firecord gutted out and balled up nice and tight will help you get a rolling boil, a full-on rolling boil to make your teas, your coffees, cook food in an emergency, heat up your little rations if you need to, if you have that in your pack. And that is super exciting to me, as all of these being emergency cordages, that's really freaking awesome. For reference, this is the aftermath. I went ahead and kept that. That is the ashes that are left over from it. As far as emergency Firecord waterproof tinder cordages, this is the best in my opinion on the market. It's the cheapest. It performs right on par, head to head, power for power, firepower to firepower with the UST Paratinder, but it's cheaper. But then I also get monofilament line in addition, which makes it a closer competitor actually to the Titan Survival Cord. Like I said, the only thing you're missing is the copper wire, which honestly for a couple bucks you can go and fix that for yourself. Now, is it are any of these the absolute most ferocious and most powerful fire starters on the market? No. If we're going to go just do on pure firepower, as far as store-bought ones are concerned, these are my two favorites. This is brand new for the market. This is called Pyro Putty, and these are the fire plugs by Pro Camp Tech, formerly known as Production Hanger 51. Firepower to firepower for the money, what you get, and the value and just the sheer performance. These are my two favorites. And these are absolutely amazing, but they also are more expensive. I know there's going to be a lot of people that want to default to Vaseline cotton balls, but to me, yeah, they're super cheap, but they're bulky, they're messy, they're just disgusting, and they have a very low melting point. And if I get stuck in my car or my bag in the summertime, they'll just leak everywhere, and it's just gross. So with that said, we want to know what you think, and if you enjoyed the full-on testing experience, the side-by-side comparison of the top cordage brands on the market for fire starting, definitely give this video a big thumbs up and share this out with your friends and family in your social media networks so we can keep growing, thriving, and making awesome videos for you guys. But that's just the best for now. Hope you guys have an absolute wonderful day. I'm out.